about him, and here is a little something for you. You are more than welcome. Folks, and special thanks to Renee too for coming out tonight and sharing him with us. He is such a talented inspiration for us to look up to.
There he is.
Folks, this guy I'm getting ready to introduce you to, he has a great vision for our state. He has a great vision for our country. I'm going to let Bill Connell come on up. He is running for lieutenant governor, and he is a great friend of mine. We are happy to have him in the city.
Thank you, Brad. I gotta tell you, talk about a setup. I mean, speaking after Trey. All right. I'll go Congress with that. I was gonna say, this one, how do you continue on? I'll try to keep it short though. But really honored to be out here, and it's kind of funny. We're driving in, and Josh and I are both on our phones, making all these phone calls, that sort of thing. We're coming up the road, and Josh makes an early turn. Bam! It's one of those mud tunnels with, a 10-foot deep trench thing would come out, and all of a sudden we drive up to a little farmhouse, and I sort of look in the window like, what the heck are these people doing? And wow, we were really out here in Florence. We really looked at the cars. But it was great actually driving. This is incredible, what we actually saw. So again, I appreciate this. I'm really the only non-politician candidate that you're going to see. Folks, everyone's asked me, what office are you running for? And the answer is nothing. I'm not running for it. My father, grandfather, great-grandfather were career military officers, and that's been my background. In fact, we actually kind of kept politics somewhat at an arm's distance growing up and through most of my life. And it's interesting because we have the Tea Party folks here. And in many ways, I feel so connected in the sense of being one of these guys that later in life, realize enough is enough. And I'll tell you how I got there. But enough is enough. It's time for us to get involved. So not just me, but for all of you that are getting involved now, folks who have never been involved before, God bless you, because this is the future of our nation. It really is. But I grew up as a military brat, as folks have asked where I'm from. What that means is I grew up pretty much almost everywhere from Charleston. In fact, I was born in Hawaii, and yes, I've got my birth certificate. My dad was in between church in Vietnam, and we moved on, but came back, went to the Citadel. I graduated about 20 years ago, and essentially one of the last jobs I had at the Citadel was battalion executive officer. And the battalion has about 600 people, and XO is second in command, very similar to what the lieutenant governor does. I went on, I was commissioned in the Army. I went to Ranger School. Yes, Rangers are pretty close to Marines, so don't give me any more hassle back here. Went to Ranger School, commanded the Ranger Company. Commanded the Ranger Company, Lancer Company. Learned my leadership in places like Kuwait, the Sinai, Korea, eventually Afghanistan. Learned leadership in peace, learned leadership in war. And it gave me a lot of experiences. And here's one of the things I think that we can really bring to office and try to bring in more veterans, is you learn an incredible leadership principle. And that is that the leaders eat last. You take care of your men first. It's mission first, men always. It means men and women, by the way, too. Not to offend anybody here, but just, it really does. It's a whole leadership attitude that you put others before yourself. You're a servant leader. And that's what I kind of grew up with through most of my life in the military. And went on, at age 34, made a major change in life. I wanted to settle my family down in South Carolina. And my family left me a good name and not a whole lot of money. And looking at different things I could do, I went to law school at USC. And God used that time of my life 8 years ago, as I talked to Pastor about, to bring me to my knees during the first few months after leaving active duty and bring me to a saving faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. And it has affected everything in the way I see life, the way I see government. In fact, it's not just the issues of life, marriage, but also the size of government, I believe, is biblically mandated. You read Romans 13, 1 Peter 2, government is to remain small in legitimate areas, national defense, law enforcement, and things we can't do for ourselves. But the other stuff, it's a virtuous duty to do things like tithe and take care of the poor. That's the job of the church and family. So that's really how I came to my sort of political philosophy and the idea of being a conservative in small government. It's not just connected with being a Christian. And one thing right now, I tell you, is incredibly important, more important than anything else, I think right now that we're seeing, is we got a president right now who believes we are not a Christian nation when we are. Regardless of what he tells a nation overseas, we are a Judeo-Christian nation founded upon Christian biblical principles. If we lose that, we lose the greatness of America. You know, Alexis de Tocqueville wrote about America in the 1830s and the rise to greatness. And one of the things he said was America was the most Christian nation on the face of the earth. And if you look at everything that we've done as a people, it's because we put faith in God and not faith in government. But in my own story, and a lot of folks have asked this question, you know, why are you running for lieutenant governor? Why age 42? What brought you into this? And for myself, I've got a wife of 19 years. I got 3 kids. But the thing that happened to me was I was called to volunteer to go off to war in Afghanistan. The 218th Infantry Brigade, which is a major combat unit, was being sent over there, and I felt the call, volunteered, got there. And when I got there, I saw something absolutely amazing. It's a story that needs to be told over and over again. I saw the young men and women of our nation do incredible things. We got there at the start of the Taliban spring-summer offensive, and we hit left and right, had a new mission with very little guidance. And yet, despite that, and despite these people being sent out to remote locations, through hard work, through ingenuity, through initiative, they got the mission done. And we're with the Europeans in the southern region of Afghanistan, so I could see the difference. And Americans are special. They really are. Particularly being with the British, I can just see what our nation that believes in God first, put our faith in God, not government, that believes in hard work, initiative, ingenuity, that gives you the opportunity, but doesn't guarantee results. That's what makes us who we are. Then I come back home and look around and can't believe it just struck me like a thunderbolt that we're about to lose everything that I raised my right hand to defend 20 years ago right here in the United States. Because all the fighting overseas means nothing if we lose it here. And what's going on is so many people looking at government as God, looking at government as the answer to all the problems. And friends, I'm here to tell you, government is not the answer. Freedom is the answer. If you remember one thing from my speech, is my firm belief in the idea that freedom is the answer. My hero, Ronald Reagan, came in during a terrible, terrible time. You know, the Malaise speech, terrible economy, inflation, everything else. He comes in, and one of the first things he does is to lower top income tax rates from 70% to 50%, eventually 28%. And here's the thing, because Reagan understood too, we're a Judeo-Christian nation, it wasn't about the money. It was about the principle that government's not God. And that frankly, freedom does work, and freedom will work. What I want to do is, I've got a wife who herself is a small business owner, and for 6 years we built her business up from scratch. We've seen what we can do in South Carolina with small businesses. That is the backbone of our job growth. I believe